Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about trophy. And I don't mean this kind of trophy, I mean the kind of trophy that means feeding. And particularly, we're going to talk about how microbes feed themselves. So we're going to draw a table. And this table is going to look like this. It's going to have... Okay, yeah, heck, why not? Let's go ahead and make it. There we go. And we're going to have, up at the top here, our headings on our table. We're going to make five rows here under our headings. So we've got a 6th one up at the top, 5 more down here. Okay. Let's see. So we're going to have a little bit more. I'm just kind of eyeballing it in here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. Okay. So in this first column is going to be the type of nutritional mode we're talking about. And then we have to have 3 considerations for that. One is the energy source. Second, we're going to have the electron source. And third, we're going to have the carbon source. Okay? And it's getting kind of messy because I'm using this kind of a pen. All right, so we'll talk about the nutritional mode. Nutritional mode. We will have the energy source, the electron source, and the carbon source. And over here, I'll put in some representatives. Representative Pōpoki is my cat. You want to get involved, Pōpoki? I know you do. There she is. She says, I want to be your representative chemo-organo-heterotroph. I say, fine, Pōpoki, but we have to get to the other things first, Miss Popo. Yeah. Okay. All right, Pōpoki. Meow meow. Sweet thing. Okay, so our first of these 5 is going to be a photolithoautotroph. So our energy source is either going to be light or chemical. What is the source of power in the case of a photolithoautotroph? Oh, Pōpoki. Meow, meow, meow. You're really being very sweet. Meow. Scooch you along gently. So our energy source for a photolithoautotroph is going to be light. The source of electrons is going to be an inorganic electron donor. That's the litho part. And the carbon source is going to be carbon dioxide. So these are organisms that have a Calvin cycle and can fix carbon. What's the source of electrons? It's going to be something inorganic. That might be something like water. Water is an inorganic compound. So this might sound kind of familiar to you. Like you probably know some organisms that use water as an electron donor to fix carbon and use light as an energy source, because plants fall into this category as well. Okay, Pōpoki. Just gonna take a little break. So some representative purple and green sulfur bacteria. Cyanobacteria, of course, those are the donors of the chloroplasts that we find in modern plants and green and red algae. And actually all algae ultimately can trace their the roots of their chloroplast back to the cyanobacteria. So I'm also going to include diatoms here, just as one type of microbial algae that are photolithoautotrophs. There are also photo-organo-heterotrophs out there. So photo-organo-heterotrophs can use light as an energy source. They're going to require an organic electron donor, and they're going to use organic carbon or fixed carbon as their carbon source. So for building biomass, they can use light to make ATP. However, they need to use organic carbon or biomass, sugar, for example, to be the source of electrons for their respiration. And this is going to include microbes like purple non-sulfur bacteria and green non-sulfur bacteria. So we've got the sulfur bacteria and the non-sulfur bacteria. Both of them use light as an energy source, but in one case they're able to fix carbon, in another case they are not. Okay, let's move on. We're out of the light into the chemo category here. So there are chemolithoautotrophs. They're going to use inorganic chemicals as their lights, as their energy source. Maybe they're going to use iron or nitrogen or sulfur or something as an energy source, but not sunlight. Now, you can't get as much energy out of these inorganic chemicals as you can out of light, but it can be done, and these organisms do survive and have survived for billions of years. So it's kind of maybe not the most luxurious form of life, but it is life nonetheless. So for chemolithoautotrophs, they have used inorganic chemicals as their energy source. They also use them as their electron donor. And they are also capable of performing the Calvin cycle and can fix carbon dioxide into organic molecules like carbohydrate, sugar. So chemolithoautotrophs include things like sulfur oxidizing bacteria, hydrogen oxidizing bacteria, Ooh, is there a theme here? Seems like there might be. Methanogens, which are archaeans. Nitrifying bacteria, which are going to use ammonium as their electron source. And iron oxidizing bacteria. Okay, another category is chemo, litho, heterotrophs. They're going to use inorganic chemicals. As their energy source. They're going to use inorganic molecules for their electron donor, but they cannot fix carbon. So they have to eat other organisms. And that's where they get their organic carbon from. So for chemolithoautotrophs, this is going to include some, but not all, of the sulfur oxidizing bacteria. But this is going to include, for example, species of Beggiatoa, which sounds kind of familiar because Beggiatoa was discovered to be a chemolithoheterotroph by Sergei Winogradsky, the father of soil microbiology. So some of these sulfur oxidizing bacteria, they use inorganic molecules as their energy source. They use those inorganic molecules for an electron donor, but they do not have a Calvin cycle. They cannot fix carbon. They still have to eat other organisms to build up their biomass, even if they don't need them for their energy requirements. Okay, the last category here is going to be chemo, organo, heterotrophs. Oh, Pōpoki's back. Now all my pets are circling around, wondering what I'm doing. What am I talking to myself about? Okay. So for chemo organoheterotrophs, their energy source is going to be organic chemicals. Often, it's going to be the same as the carbon source. The electron source is going to be an organic electron source, often the same as the carbon source. Hello, Pōpoki. Meow, meow. And that carbon source is going to be organic carbon. So these are organisms that eat other organisms, and they use Pōpoki, you goofball. Silly puss. Silly puss. Oh, meow, meow. Come here, sweet thing. Oh, come here. So this should sound very familiar because this is what we are. We are chemo-organo-heterotroph because we have to eat food. We eat other organisms. They are our energy source as well as our source for building new biomass. They're also our electron source. So if you think about aerobic respiration, the process where we take glucose and we break it down, we rip electrons off using NADH and FADH2, and we put those through an electron transport chain to produce ATP. Then this is us. That describes us. So this is going to be most non-photosynthetic microbes. It's going to include most pathogens, fungi, and many protists, for lack of a better word. Basal eukaryotes would be a better word, but eukaryotes in general, many of them are going to, like us, are going to be chemo-organo-heterotrophs, but we're not microbes, so that's why I don't put us in here. Okay, so notice that we've got 5 different categories here, which are different combinations of energy source, electron source, and carbon source. So there's a couple of that just don't seem to exist, and I'm going to leave it up to you to figure out what those are.